it was a very stressful environment. And when I came home, I had a month off, and there was no one there to just to be with that was of a female nature. And I was very alone and very split off and by myself. And so I was going through the back page ads, and I saw this one for the Goddess Temple. And I started going over there. Well, first of all, I called Tracy on the phone, and I must have spent 30 to 45 minutes on the phone talking to her, explaining that I was not a young man and that I wasn't a prime physical specimen, and I had health issues and all this other stuff. And she said, well, that's entirely fine, and you please come, and I would be willing to work with you if none of the other girls were, and please ask for me. And so that's how I started. And I came over there, and they had some beginning classes at that time, and so I got to see a cuddle party and a few other things like that, and I had a couple of sessions, and it was wonderful because there was, in addition to the tactile, the touch, and everything that was involved with that, it was also, it wasn't like a normal situation that you had, because there was feelings that were conveyed, as well as the touch and the sensory fulfillment. So after that month's time off, I went back and spent another 7 or 8 months, and again, there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened over there that was violent, and it was very distressing and everything else. And I came back, and I was even more traumatized than I was the first time. And the temple was there, and the temple fulfilled a need that was, at this point, it was like a therapist, because I was so alone, I was so split off, and I had started to not really care anymore, because this was, we were on a border where the pirates and the rebels, we could see 2 or 3 miles away where they were at, and yet it was over an international border. And so every night they would come, and I was put on the nights so that I could keep watch on everything while the superintendent would get some sleep. And all of the natives would listen to me, and it got to the point that if I didn't make an announcement on the deck page, they wouldn't accept it as being authentic unless I did. But again, the temple fulfilled. I attended classes as well as had sessions there, and then I went away for the third time, and at this point I wound up staying overseas in Africa for 17, 18 months, and at the end of the day I came home, and I was I couldn't sleep with the light out, and I hadn't owned a gun since 1975, and I bought a shotgun, not so much as something that I intended to use. It was more like a security blanket that I knew that if anyone came in the middle of the night, I had that. And I had the temple. I had someone that would care for me, and it was a very fulfilling situation there, because at this point I was very, very emotionally drained,
What would you say to someone who would say, well, isn't it like a brothel? Wasn't it just about sex?
That's the whole point and purpose of the difference between the temple and anything else that was on the back page there, because from the start they had said that this was a temple, and I looked at sex as a sacrament, and they too looked at sex as a sacrament. And they had affiliated with the American Indian Church, and it was something that I believed in, and it was something that was fulfilling, and it was like drinking water when you were in the desert. You were dry and thirsty, and the difference between a normal ad on the back page and the Phoenix Goddess Temple was the difference of night and day. There was just all of the things that I was thirsting for and hungry for were pretty much fulfilled.
Did you have any experience with the money aspect where the church or the temple demanded a certain amount of money from you, like a fee, or did you really feel it was an offering? Did you feel, I mean, be honest and say, did you, I mean, tell me about the money part. Did you feel it was a donation? Did you feel it was a fee?
It was.
What are your feelings about giving money to the temple? I mean, just anything
the thing
like that.
was that they gave value for what was the offering, but it was kind of unique because it was the payment was done at the end of a session. The offering was done at the end of a session, instead of like in every other situation that I'd been like this, where it's done at the front, at the first part of it. And
did you leave various amounts? Like it wasn't always the amount requested. Did you leave what you felt you wanted to leave? I mean,
well, it was a set amount, but it was also less than what was advertised in some of the ads there. So there was not a hard and fast rule on how much a payment was. I would leave that and was never told, well, you need to pay some more or something like that.
right. I know that you're a generous man, and I know there's been times when you visited and gave above, and there might have been a time or two when you gave a little less. And I think there was, and it really did have to do with what your level of abundance was in that moment, which is what we had sort of designed it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. What temple name should I put? Temple Man. You were Tall Tree, Far Mountain. I forgot your name. You had a cool name.
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Okay. Because I always knew you as John. So okay, perfect. So Bigfoot. Thank you, Bigfoot. That was lovely testimony.
Actually, that's my name in the oil field too.
Oh, nice. Well, maybe we should call you something else then.
No. That's fine.
Is there anything else you want to say? And I can turn the camera, but I'm happy to keep going. If there's anything else you want to say about any of the women, the priestesses.
It broke my heart to see what happened to the temple in September of 2 years ago. And it was so wrong, and it was so off base, because what they were accusing them of was nowhere near the reality that I experienced. And I was deeply saddened by what had happened to them, and what continues to go on. And I hope that someday that this will be put behind them and they can go forward.
Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.